Hello everyone, welcome back. So today's deer antler project is this ring. I have it on this piece of black cloth, so hopefully it shows up better, but it's all polished. And again, I got these from my brother Danny over at TN Deer Stalker Outdoor. Now this is a project that totally depends on the size of the antler as to how big you can make the ring. So this one doesn't actually fit me. It's as far as I can get it on my finger. I used up almost all the antlers. If I would have took the bottom closer to the pedicle, I would have probably got one out, definitely got one out that would have fit probably my ring finger. But it is what it is. But I really like the way it came out, and I'm going to show you how to make it. So, first thing we have to do is, we have to drill a hole. And what you're going to want to do is, you're going to try to want to get that, if you see that round, kind of oval section in there, you're going to try to want to get that drilled out, okay? Because you want just a hard outer surface, because that's what polishes nice, and it feels very smooth on the inside. So let me take you over to the bench, and the first thing we're going to do is drill that hole. Alright, so I got the antler in a vise. I have a 1/2-inch drill bit. There's our hole. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this off to whatever width you want the ring. And for that, we're just going to use a hacksaw. There you go. Next step, I'll take you over to the belt sander. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to flatten both sides. Alright, so you get the idea. Try to get it as parallel as you can. Now I'll bring you over to the table, show you the next step. Alright, so now, I mean at this point, if you wanted to, you could widen the hole and leave it the way it is and have that antler look, but we're going to go for a nice polished finish, okay? So the best way that I found to make something perfectly round is make a jig for it. Now I've showed something very similar to this in past videos, and I'm going to show you how I made it. Extremely simple, okay? So what you're going to do is you drill a hole. In this case, it's a 1/2-inch hole to match the size of the hole in the piece of antler. And then I just have a 1/2-inch dowel, okay? Place that in the hole. Now you have to play with the distance between here and here. I just have about 1/8 of an inch, and I find that that's sufficient. Now this is going to slip over the top, just like that, okay? Now we're going to clamp this down against the belt sander, and then as we rotate this, we'll get all the high spots off, and we'll get a perfectly round ring. Okay, so the way you're going to start is, you're not going to want to start where it's extremely thick. Like, see how much that hangs off there? You kind of want to rotate it and get it to where it just has a little bit of an overhang, okay? And then we're going to start, I'll clamp it onto the belt sander, and I'll show you that. Alright, hopefully this all shows up. So we have this. We're going to place it where it just barely touches. Okay, now we're going to get a clamp. Just put a clamp on it. We want to keep it in a locked position. Okay? Oh, sorry about that. And please don't forget to wear a dust mask when you're doing this. Hopefully my fingers aren't in the way, but it's about all I could do. But I wanted to just show you, go very, very slow, okay? And keep spinning it around, spinning it around. All right, I know my fingers are in the way, but you see how it's rounding up? So now we're going to move it just a little bit closer. And all I do is I just take a little mallet and I tap here. That's all you got to do. Now, as you're twisting it, you'll feel a low spot. When you feel a low spot, tap it in a little bit more and keep going till you have it perfectly round. I'll finish this up and I'll bring you back over the table. That makes it perfectly round. Now we're going to have to make the inside a little bit bigger. And for that, I just have a Dremel tool. And I'm not sure what these are called, but it's like a rasp bit. So keep going around and around until you get the desired thickness of the wall, and then move over to a sanding drum and do the same thing. Okay, get it nice and smooth. I'll bring you back when I get to that point. All right, so here's the original that I showed you, all polished up, and here's the one we just did. Okay, we used our jig to make it round. We used our Dremel to make it bigger inside. So you can see they're different sizes, because as you go up towards the tines, right, it's going to be smaller and smaller. But I made this one thinner, so it actually is the same size, pretty much, but a different dimension. So now the next thing we're going to do, we're just going to get some 220 sandpaper, and we're probably going to spend at least a half an hour, maybe more. And I'm just going to keep sanding, rounding off the edges, smoothing it all out. You get out any major scratches that were left over from the belt sander. So I like to just put some tunes on and sit down and just sand away until you're 100% satisfied you sanded enough. Okay? And I'll bring you back for the next step. All right. Sanding's all done. Now it's time for the polishing. Now, if you don't have a polishing wheel, you can use a Dremel, or you could just leave it the way it is. But I like the polish finish on like a piece of jewelry like this. So this is just my homemade machine. This is a motor that will go with either direction. Whatever direction you started is the way it goes. So always make sure when you're working with a polishing wheel that it's going down from the direction that you're polishing. Otherwise it'll throw it up in your face. Okay. So here I'm just using a white compound on my polishing wheel. All right. All right, notice how I had it captured because it is bone, right, antler, and we don't want it to fly out of our hand because it could probably break if it hit the ground at a very, very high rate of speed. So I'll continue polishing this up, and as you can see, I already got a shine on it. Hopefully it shows up. And I'll bring it back over to the table and we'll wrap this up. All right, so it's all polished up. I'm loving the different tones in there, the light grays and the light browns. It reminds me of ivory. This one came out nice. Here's the original one. As you can see, the different dimensions. Again, you can make these, you know, perfectly match if you're making a set. They're both about the same size as far as ring size go. This one might be a little bit bigger. But I figured while I had everything out, I made another one. And then I made another one. And this one actually fits my pinky finger. Now if you look at this one, again, different shape. I left some of the bark in there to give it some interest. I think that looks really cool. And you could do that, you know, you could leave a lot of it on there if you want. But totally different shape, more rounded. But it looks cool. And I could wear this one. So there you go. Hopefully it inspired you to try to make one. It's pretty easy. You can use, you know, all hand tools if you don't have power tools. Obviously, power tools makes it a lot easier. By the time I got to the fourth one, I think I spent less than 30 minutes to get it to the point of sanding. And then sanding was about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because I like to make sure I get all the scratches out, and then the polishing. So I mean, I'm going to say less than about an hour. Figure about an hour to make one. I'm sure if you get into production mode, you could probably cut that down to about 45 minutes or so, 40 minutes. But very, very fun to make, and it's satisfying to take something that you make and, you know, put it on your finger or give it to someone as a gift. So like always, everyone, I appreciate all your views and I appreciate all your comments. I hope you all are having a great, great day. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you all are staying safe and healthy out there. So we'll see you on the next one.